All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're very excited to be talking with artist Blessing Hancock about the work that she recently had installed, created, designed, and installed at the new Beaverton Public Safety Building. Um, my name is Beth Toby. I'm the arts manager for the city, and I came on at the tail end of this project, and I saw renderings of it before it went up, and I thought it was going to be really awesome. But I have to tell you, it's even more awesome than I thought it would be, and I knew it would be awesome. And I received nothing but positive comments. In fact, I just got an email from one of our police officers saying that everyone at the public safety building loves it and they're getting positive comments. Um, and it's just beautiful at night when the lights change. So you have a lot of supporters here and appreciators. Feedback. So Blessing.
Okay, let's do this. Okay, so I thought before I get directly into Beaverton project, I thought I'd maybe just give you a little bit of background about how I got into this, as people interested in the arts. I think there's always, an interesting background story. So thanks. I'm so thrilled, you guys, that this is being well received. It's just, this is like the really fun part for me to see it all come together. So my background is actually in, I got my undergrad degree in sculpture and my master's degree in landscape architecture. And it's been this great blend, if any of you want to do public art, between creative and the communication and technical design aspects. So it's been a great degree combination to have. And when I first started out doing this, I was in my early 30s. About 12 years ago. And I collaborated with a fabrication company to do all my own fabrication. So it was an interesting process to kind of learn how to weld and do all this assemblage, and as well as do the design work on the computer. So quickly, the projects became large scale. The whole thing kind of, I think my dad likes to say I had a tiger by the tail. And it just, it keeps me busy. I usually am managing about 10 projects at any given time. And it's just a thrill. I couldn't be happier that, art is actually a career that you can have and is just so fun and challenging. So I specialize in interactivity and community engagement. So these large scale illuminated sculptures that I've been making, internationally throughout the world, they have kind of this common theme of interactivity and communication. And I've probably installed maybe 50 or 60 at this point. So they're kind of an ongoing process. I'm always in different phases with different projects. This one's installed up in Calgary. And you can kind of get the sense of community engagement and interactivity and how, working with other artists to create this dance performance. So it's really important to me that it's like about the public, that it's not something that's off limits, that it's inaccessible or kind of tucked away or, over their head in some way. Like they have to have a big, rich history of appreciating arts to get it. I want it to be out there in the public. I want people to flock to it. I want them to climb on it. I want them to appreciate arts kind of in this new and sort of very public, accessible way. And that's kind of, I kind of see myself as like at the ground level of the arts, where I'm trying to reach the broadest audience and get them all to be art lovers, and then, once that takes hold with this public work, they might become specialists and they might visit the museums and they might have this love for art that, continues throughout their whole life. But I think it's that open door of accessibility at first that is kind of really important to create. So I also work a lot with community engagement. So like I did with Beaverton, I hold a lot of workshops early on with the community. So a lot of people ask what phase is the engagement get involved with. So usually I'll come up with the overall form, you know, the aesthetic vision for the work, and then all the little details, you know, on the surface, whether it's words or imagery or, you know, other things, I'm collecting from the community, and then I'm incorporating those into the artwork itself. So that's a big part of what I liked about this career as well, is that idea that people can say they were involved, and that they can, you know, when they see it installed, they can point to something and they said, you know, that was the word that, you know, I gave her, and there it is, and they could, you know, bring their friends and family and point out and have like a whole like personal experience that is lasting with the artwork. So I was just going to go through a few pieces just to kind of give you the idea of my aesthetic. Again, social engagement, interactivity. I'm also very inspired by the natural world. This is called Fish Bellies. This is based on a star constellation pattern in the night sky. And you interact with it and change the colors. This one takes your heartbeat. So it's for an emergency coordination center, and it's kind of a stressful environment. And I wanted it to connect to kind of that life-saving mission. So, you know, it reminds people of the life and the heartbeat. Again, I do a lot with text, and all of the text that I use in the work is collected from local communities. So it really tells that story, you know, from the grassroots level. And I think that's always been a really popular thing with the public, to see that story that is really based on them and their environment and where the piece is located. It's not just something I'm coming in and telling them what I think, but it's coming from them. I also, you know, I'm looking at through a microscope or something up close. You know, I'm just interested in a lot of things. So it kind of all comes out in the work, but each piece is original and site specific. And there's a lot of, you know, background research that goes into it, but I just kind of wanted to give you a general sense of some of the aesthetics. So a lot of them involve curves and lights. This one's up in Calgary. It's based on a weather phenomenon. So that's just a little bit of the background. So I just wanted to kind of show you some of that, and we can go back to anything if you have questions, but I wanted to get into Beaverton. So I was, you know, shortlisted for this project. I guess it was a couple of years ago now, and I'm just so thrilled that, like, through COVID and everything, it was able to keep happening and come together, and now it's installed. So when I was originally shortlisted, you know, there were several other artists, and you know, they selected me, and I came up with this this idea that is now entitled Insignia, but it's the three insignia sculptures that kind of act as a family. I really like doing families of sculptures that are kind of responding to each other, you know, kind of all working together. I come from a big family, so I think that tight knit sort of thing, I kind of push that off onto the artwork as well. But the original inspiration is kind of the badge. You'll see it on the Beaverton Police Department logo. It's kind of this rounded triangle, but I've inverted that. It's kind of upside down, and then punch these teardrop shaped holes through the center so that they can become, you know, that interactive element, and people could use them and kind of take their selfies and lounge around and just enjoy the work from different perspectives. You know, they could be upside down and crawling through, and you know, whether they use it that way or not, you know, I like the intention to be out there for them to just explore the piece and have it be a public thing that they can have a lot of fun with. So there's these three pieces, and the original renderings. Then we moved into the community engagement process. So I created these drawing templates that the community could color in and write their words. So it's just, isn't it heartwarming to me? It's just very touching to see, all ages get involved and kind of send their little message out there. And then it, kind of winds up being something permanent in the end. But a big event I went to several times was the Beaverton Night Market. And I was just really impressed with the level of participation. Hundreds of people participated, and the level of diversity and like multilingual. And so it was just, people from all backgrounds, all ages. And that ideally is, to me, like a very successful engagement opportunity. So that was a very popular event. So tons of people. We then moved into fabrication. So here's some of the pieces. Again, they're made out of stainless steel, getting put together in the shop. This was actually built at a company in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, which, so I use a number of different fabrication companies, but this one had kind of the best approach to the project, and I felt really comfortable using them. And then, I rarely work with anyone that close to where the location is. So this got then, shipped across country, but it all works out really well. If I trust my teams, I like to be pretty hands off once I give them all the design. So I did all the creative input into placing the text and doing all the cut files, and then it's just a matter of coordinating with them, making sure everything's happening as planned. So I think it's fun to see some of these behind the scenes pictures. Then comes the lighting. So they're each internally lit with LED lights, and they change colors, you've probably seen. And so we're doing some of the prototyping and testing for that lighting in the shops, kind of seeing how those shadow patterns are going to work. I think it's all really fun to see it come together. So then we got that's a big truck, right? So that shipped them across the country to you guys. And since I haven't been to see them in person, I'm gonna hand it back over to Beth, who has some installation pictures, and we can talk through that a little bit more.
That was so interesting, and I love seeing your other work. The work in Beaverton is beautiful. I can see why you were selected. The other work is absolutely beautiful. So I am going to share a couple photos. This is a photo, of us and with our Oregon sunshine, right? This was, I think, the day after they were installed, and I think Blessing, they rotate through colors. So all three of them are the same color, and then they all change at the same time.
So this one, yeah, which I love that reflection with the wet ground. That's really fun.
Yeah.
I think at this point, they had just been installed, and we were still coordinating the sequencing of the changing colors.
Well, I'm going to stop sharing my screen now, and I'm going to just ask you a couple questions. You covered almost everything I wanted to ask. But I did want to know, I think one thing that we wanted to mention was that you had responded, the words that the community had given you were in response to the police department motto, I think. Was it courage, compassion, and integrity? And I thought that was really, really amazing that was the prompt that you gave the community. So I guess my one question, and then I'm going to hand it over to anyone. If you have a question, you can put it in the chat. What are your hopes for how the public will interact with these pieces?
Well, there'll be different scales of interaction, right? So it's in a pretty prominent location where if you're driving by, it's going to be something that kind of gets you excited, and whether it's day or night, you're going to have kind of this visual experience at a certain speed, but you're not going to be able to read the language on the surface. You might just get the idea of the impressions of these police insignias, the three of them: courage, compassion, integrity. And and then that might draw you into now park and explore the piece further. If you were involved in the engagement process, you might be able to pick out something that you actually contributed yourself. That's like some of the language. And if you're kind of courageous enough, you might actually climb inside and hang out. So I would personally love that. They're structurally sound, you know. We've kind of welded and ground down the edges to make it as kind of like safe as possible, with, you know, the idea that it is still artwork and not a playground equipment. But I'd love to see pictures. I'd love, you know, people kind of sharing their experience with me if they want to, you know, send me things on Instagram or whatever platform is. I like to see it live on. You know, I like to see people enjoying it, and their day-to-day routine is sort of halted and a little bit disrupted, and yet they're like, "Ooh, what is that?" And it's new, and what can we, you know, how can we find new ways to appreciate it and have it be part of our experience. So um, that's kind of my goal. Whether that happens or not, you know, it's up to the community. But I think successfully that tends to happen with the pieces, and I'd love for it to be popular.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. Who wants to go first? I know people have questions.
Oh, I'll go. Um,
Okay.
Hi, Blessing. I'm Lynn Francis Anderson. I'm a professional musician and marketer, and I'm on the Arts Commission. I'm one of the commissioners. So, wasn't part of the process of bringing you on, but really love this piece. Sort of so to sort of expand on what you're already talking about in terms of inspiration and things like that. Was it partially, or maybe, you know, what was the sort of inspiration for selecting the insignia of the police? Was that because of the safety building, that kind of thing? Um, and to sort of add to what Beth was just saying, you know, as people interact with it, in addition to interacting, what do you hope to, how do you hope to have it affect them?
Well, good questions. So, and your sound is amazing with the microphone.
Thanks.
so, the insignia, yeah, the badge. You know, I wanted something that related specifically to the site, to the people that are going to be kind of moving back and forth, as a reminder to the employees. You know, maybe it's something they associate with. It may be abstract. It may be something they don't even realize that that's what it's referencing. But you know, some people may get it, and I like the idea that it's open to multiple interpretations. It's not just like, here's the obvious thing and this is the only way to look at it. So yeah, I wanted the insignia to be, you know, I also think it's kind of a strong form, that idea of this rounded sort of triangle, this kind of fat, like kind of loaded shape, and the three of them together representing sort of a family structure or a team unit, you know, the officers and public kind of working together as a team. So kind of all of those things went into it. As far as, you know, what I would like them to get out of it, you know, with so much kind of civil unrest happening right now with police and safety and the public, you know, I'd love for it to be kind of be this bridge, this way to, you know, relate to each other, to realize that, you know, we have some sort of commonality, that the public has included this message to the police, as a way for them to live up to kind of the ideals that they want, you know, in their community. And hopefully that's a reminder then reflected back to people working there. But it's been interesting because I've done a number of police and kind of safety related works over the years. And this last summer was just really challenging, I think, for artists in general to you know, how do we continue to support this? And for me, you know, the idea that it's representing an ideal, that it is, you know, it is that community saying this is what we want, this is what we expect, and you know, you're serving us, and but in a friendly way. It's not aggressive. It's not, you know, out there, you know, trying to stir up the pot. It's really more about, you know, finding common ground, that bridge. So
Nice, nice. Thank you.
I don't have so much of a question as much as I just wanted to say, I think you nailed it. I've worked with police for about 7 years as a victim advocate, as well as the city staff on in the arts program. And, you know, working with them, they're a whole nother, you know, band of brothers, a culture, and just coming up with something that they could feel proud of. I think just utilizing their insignia on their patches was brilliant. And then from the community side standpoint, I feel like, you know, having the community come up with the words and all around compassion, courage, and integrity. And I am just blown away by how inspirational it is and how it just fits the culture. It fits the building. I can't even imagine anything better. So good job. I'm so proud of you and all the work you've done and everybody else that's worked on this project. So I don't really have any questions because you answered all of my questions, but I just wanted to say how much I love it and the work that you've done.
Thank you, Debbie. That's great to hear.
All right, does anyone else have questions or comments?
I'm just going to say how beautiful it is. I've seen it and I love it. I was there when we broke ground for it and in the nice warm sunshine. And I'm also on the Arts Commission.
Yeah, I'm jealous. I haven't seen it in person yet. So COVID, you know, soon I'll come visit. Yeah, they're, you know, my little babies.
Well, the weather might shock you a little bit right now because it's
Yeah.
going to snow. It's going to snow and you're in Hawaii, but anyone else? Rebecca, did you have any questions or?
No questions, just reiterating what's already been said. I've driven by it as well. And I mean, I watched and watched. It's like, when is it going to come? When? Because I knew it was coming. I was so excited. I'd go past there quite a bit. And then all of a sudden one day it appeared. And I was like, yes. And it was so cool. The scale of it, just the energy around it. If you know, I don't know. It was just so cool and just so perfect. I can't wait to go by it at night and see it lit up. But
oh yeah,
I would go right along with Deb in saying that you just absolutely nailed it. You honored the officers and the community as well, and just tied it all together in one just gorgeous bow. And just bravo. I'm on the Arts Commission too, so
thank you. Yeah, it's interesting. You know, personally, I'm kind of I don't like a lot of attention on myself, you know, but I love the work to be popular. So to hear that it's kind of got this great balance and that I've met that, it's just like so great. You know, I can kind of be just behind the scenes and watch it shine. So.
Well, I just love your intention behind these things, as far as it's just so intentional relative to compassion for the community and engaging and, you know, making something that people can interact with. And so, I mean, that it's wow, fabulous.
Yeah, send me pictures if any of you visited and you're
okay.
You have if you're courageous enough to get in there and sit. I want to see.
Okay. Good.
We will do that. We will definitely do that, Blessing.
For
well,
sure.
This was awesome. You know, I think a perfect little snack about this wonderful project. Yes. So I think, you know, we're going to let Blessing go on with her day. But thank you everyone that came today, and Blessing, thank you so much for your work and your intention. And we couldn't be happier. So
yeah. Congratulations. It's beautiful.
Nice meeting you.